What's up, good people? I pray all is well with everyone. Real quick, I want to talk about therapy. I was posed a question. I was asked, let me put a little light on. I was asked, how do I feel about therapy? I love therapy. I think that everyone that walks the face of this earth should go to therapy. I wish that I had been introduced to therapy when I was a child. Therapy is a great tool. When I have children, my children will have therapy. We would do family therapy, individual therapy. I am all about therapy. I started going to therapy probably about 5 years ago. And when I started, I was initially going for childhood wounds. I was recognizing some things within myself that I did not like. Um, and I didn't grow up in a family where everything was pushed towards therapy. I grew up in a very religious family. So everything was take it to God in prayer, take it to God in prayer. And don't get me wrong, I pray all the time. I pray without ceasing. Like I believe in the power of prayer, but I also believe that God puts people in places to help you through certain situations. That's why we have therapists. That's why we have doctors, lawyers, preachers, teachers, nurses, garbage men, everything. There are people put in place to help you get through certain things in life or to provide service. So I do believe that therapy is a gift from God. You know, you might have to do trial and error with the right therapist to match up for you, but I do believe in the power of therapy. So I started therapy about 5 years ago, and the first thing that my therapist said to me, she said, "You are in your 30s, but you are emotionally a 13-year-old. Your emotions stop growing at like 13." So we had a lot to unpack. So I was going to therapy every week. So and this is the funny thing, like, I initially went for childhood wounds, right? And as I was progressing and things were changing in my life and I was beginning to change, I began to see how my childhood wounds, I brought them with me into my adulthood, which means I also brought them with me into my adult relationships. So as I began to change, I began to see how the people that I was in relationships with, I was only matching up with them because of the frequency, the vibration that I was on at the time, wounded, insecure, lack of confidence, all of that. So as those things began to heal in me, my partner at the time, I began to see how we really didn't match up that well. We didn't match up at all because I was healing and they were staying in the same place because they weren't going to therapy, but I was. When I was going to therapy, I was going every week. And then every 2 weeks, and then every 3 weeks. And then now I'm at a point where I only do monthly check-ins because I've grown a lot. Uh, in therapy is where I learned how to communicate effectively, how I learned to put myself first and not in a way of not caring about another person, but you have to put yourself first in order to even be good for yourself and for other people. And a lot of people don't understand that. And I was one who I used to put other people before me because I was a people pleaser because that's what I learned growing up. Like, okay, if I'm good, then you'll you won't talk to me sideways. If I'm nice to you, if I'm good to you, if I do what you want me to do, then you'll be pleased with me and you won't be negative towards me. You know, you won't fuss at me, you won't holler at me, you want all the things because I just wanted to be accepted. So therein birthed a people pleaser. I didn't get the acceptance, the love that I longed for growing up. So I felt that if I pleased people, people pleased, that I would get that. And that's one of the things that I noticed in going to therapy. You unlock so many things going to therapy that you didn't even realize about yourself. I am very big on self-development. I'm very big on learning how I tick, learning how I move, learning my triggers so that I can know where those things come from. And I learned that in therapy. Sit with your emotions to think about what you're doing or how you're moving. We love to blame the other person. We don't like to take accountability, but that's where it starts. The reason why you're in the relationship that you're in is because you're in it. You allowed it. You allowed this person to come into your life. You allowed this person to move how they want to move. In therapy, I developed boundaries. In therapy, I developed emotional stability, emotional intelligence. So I am very big on therapy. If someone wants to date me and they're not in therapy in some degree, we can't talk. You can tell the difference. You can tell the difference between dating someone that's in therapy versus someone that's not in therapy. Their mindset is different. And let's be clear. I've dated people that said they were in therapy, but the way that they behave, their mindset, how they act, did not depict that at all. So therapy is a tool to help us grow. But however, if you are not doing the work, you're not going to grow. If you're just showing up for your sessions, you're just sitting there, you're just answering questions, you're just going because, oh, okay, to say that you're going, but you're not doing the work, it'll show. People can see straight through you. I said that to say, if you have the opportunity to go to therapy, give it a shot. Actually give it a try. Therapy helps you, it helps mold you into a better person. It helps guide you to think clearly and correctly, along with prayer, along with meditation. I believe that therapy is a great tool for your mental health. Literally, like probably like only 1% of the people of the human race cares about their mental state. A lot of people do not care about where they are mentally. They will deal with BS, be toxic, be messed up, and just take that to the next person. And then they'll just take that to the next person. And they'll pick up more and just take that to the next person. And that's so unhealthy. A lot of people don't care about their mental health. And your mental health is tied into everything that you do from beginning to end. You're in your head majority of the day. You know, we're always talking to ourselves, we're always saying things to ourselves. And if the things that you are saying to yourself are toxic or negative, then that's the reality that you're going to bring in. That's what you're going to live in. You're going to live in a toxic reality. You're going to live in a negative reality. So I have to say, therapy is one of the best choices that I made in my life because it helped me to free myself from toxicity. Because let's be clear. Let's be clear. In order to be involved with people that are toxic, you got to be toxic at some degree yourself. I was involved with some toxic people as well. I was also toxic. Maybe not in the same degree. Maybe they were more, or I was more, or vice versa. But there was toxicity within me because you're not going to be with someone that's toxic if you're not also toxic. It doesn't work like that. Because now that I don't deal with toxicity, now that I don't even operate on that level, people that are toxic can't even find me because I vibrate so high. My frequency is so much higher than low vibrational toxic people. They can't even find me. They can't even get near me. So when you're not a toxic person, you're not going to deal with toxicity. Any place, any person, any situation, anything. It just doesn't exist, you know? So with saying all of that, I highly recommend therapy. We have so much in us that we don't even realize that's there. I unpacked so much about me and about myself in therapy, about what I endured during my childhood, things that I held in, did not heal from, that I took into my adulthood, that I had to heal from and do the work to be a better version of me for me so that I could give a better version to myself and to the world. So I highly recommend therapy. I know in some households therapy is seen as taboo, but therapy is actually like one of the best tools. I had a pastor, he said it's valuable to be able to go to someone and pay for discretion. And I can pay for discretion so my business is not put out there. I can go and talk to somebody about what's going on with me without feeling like I'm being judged, without feeling like you're going to go and talk about me. And that's one of the things that I also battled with, being talked about, because I grew up hearing my parent talk about me, about small things. As I'm a teenager, I'm a kid, I'm learning, I'm growing. So to hear you talk about me to other family members in such a negative way, that really impacted me. So those are things that I had to work through in therapy. Like because it damaged my self-esteem, it damaged my self-confidence, it damaged how I looked at myself, it damaged how I looked at the world. I just felt like I have felt so many negative emotions, and going to therapy to unpack that and really rewiring my brain to really, tell myself the exact opposite. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it takes work. So when I get on here and I'm talking about affirmations and I'm talking about being positive, I wasn't always that person. It took work for me to get there. I wasn't always positive. I wasn't always full of glee and joy and peace. I had a lot of things going on within me, and I had to actively do the work with meditation, with prayer, with therapy, within myself, really believing in myself. I did not believe in myself for a while. I guess I went through the motions, but I needed to be affirmed. I needed to be accepted. I was a people pleaser. I didn't believe in myself, so I needed other people to pat me on the back to tell me that they believed in me. And now I don't need any of that. I believe in myself. I pat myself on the back. I don't need anybody to be proud of me because I'm proud of me. I don't need anybody to love me or like me because I love me. And that really takes work. That really takes you coming from a place of sitting with yourself and truly, truly, truly loving you and going on that self-love journey for yourself and understanding who you are and why you're here and your purpose, and knowing that you are loved and you are never alone. And yeah, so I'll say it again. My answer to the therapy question: yes, therapy, 100%, all day, every day. I look forward to my therapy sessions. I look forward to talking about it, getting it all out on the table, because there are some things I can't say to other people that I need to talk about, that other people might feel away. And it's not that it's about them, but there are things that I'm like, hey, look, this is how I feel. This is how I feel about this. This is what I'm thinking about this. And therapy helps because it helps you to look at things from a different perspective, from a different viewpoint, from a different vantage point. And you're like, man, I didn't think about it like that. Or I didn't look at it like that. Or wow, that's very profound. The therapy gives you tools like books to read. I'm big on reading, big on self-development. I want to learn how I can grow. I want to learn why I move the way I move, why I tick the way I tick, and the things behind human behavior, because I want to be a better person. I want to change. People always want to, oh, if you change that person, I'm praying for this person to be changed. No, why don't you change? Be the change that you want to see. It starts with you, because truth is, when you change, whatever's bothering you about that person is more than likely going to go away because you've changed. Won't even bother you because you've changed. Be the change that you want to see. It all starts with you. You want better? Be better. Speak better. Do better. Think better. Move better. It all starts with you. So if you have the opportunity to go to therapy, go to therapy. Give it a shot. Like you may have to find a therapist that works for you. So you might have to go a couple of times or try a couple of different ones, and that's okay. But if you pray about it and ask the Lord to help you meet that right therapist, you will. And it'll happen right away. right away. So again, all day, every day, I say yes to therapy. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Until next time, this is Shantavia Speaks. Have a great day. Peace.